How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. Just say, like, what the hell is this? You have the former Israeli prime minister living in your house. You have had all this contact with the foreign government. Were you working on behalf of Mossad? Were you running a blackmail operation on behalf of foreign government? By the way, every single person in Washington, D.C. thinks that. I've never met anyone who doesn't think that. I don't know any of them that hate Israel, but no one feels they can say that. Why?
Patel, the FBI director, I think does have a problem, Josh. The Jeffrey Epstein issue, I don't think is going to go away. We're hearing some very angry words from very influential people on the right, and I'm talking about people from Tucker Carlson to Jesse Waters from Fox News to Benny Johnson, people who are being very much on the America First bandwagon, but they are just not believing this conclusion. They say there are massive holes in these conclusions and that there has been little transparency. Is this something that Donald Trump can afford to ignore? Does he have to come back to this and have Pam Bondi give a greater explanation of how they've come to this decision and answer some of the glaring questions that remain unanswered?
So the administration has obviously not handled this well. I mean, to be clear, Rita, I am definitely not apologizing for the administration. I mean, Pam Bondi said at one point that the Epstein files were sitting on her desk. She said this during a Fox News interview. And then we saw just a few days ago that the U.S. government, with all of its force and might, said that there actually is no such thing as the Epstein client list. So, I mean, one of these two things clearly is not true. So it seems, I think, on the one end that some people were definitely led to believe that there was a big there that was not there. Personally, I have long believed that the folks who are promising more than there likely is has been trying to, I think, dupe, frankly, a lot of gullible people. The Epstein case back in 2005 was essentially dropped by the Bush-era DOJ. It was given to a Palm Beach County, Florida state prosecutor, which frankly makes no sense. And that really was kind of the origin of any cover-up, if there was any cover-up, was the decision of the Bush-era DOJ. That was when I think investigative journalists really should have been sniffing around there. But the fact that 20 years later, then we haven't been able to kind of piece together a lot of the details after a lot of these victims of these horrific crimes have signed non-disclosure agreements, oftentimes have taken large sums of money to not talk there. So I'm not shocked that there's no there, and I think a lot of people do have an explanation to do. I would encourage the President of the United States, Donald Trump, to be the guy to actually get in front of the camera and just explain what happened here. He's the right guy to do it. It would be more credible coming from him and not Pam Bondi at this point, but that explanation definitely is needed at this point, I believe.
Yeah, I've got to say, I've got some major doubts about this one. Josh Hammer, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Rita.